Looking for a good tactical video, and Alexander Isak is like looking for the mysterious Planet X. It doesn't exist. Too long has YouTube football creation been a proper sausage fest without clear substance in abundance, where only lads banter generates the views, where the most interesting thing is who is the longest in the shower. And as Mark Goldbridge famously said, "I can't speak, mate." And if he's implying tactically, then he'd be right. But gosh darn it, he's entertaining with all those rants, right? I still watch that 7-0 Liverpool bashing of Man United every now and again. But he's a proper businessman. He knows that controversy creates cash. But I digress. I'm here to give you exactly what you need to know. And it's not all about them stats, bro.
Oh my god.
Do you even lift? Harry Potter and the boy who lifted.
Wrong video, my bad. Expected assists, XG, XP, XGD's nuts. So yes, I'm going to show you why statistics are very valuable, but at the same time, the most useless thing you can use to rate how Alexander Isak would do in a Liverpool shirt. Now we could look at all the publicly accessible databases and put them nicely for your viewing pleasure on the screen. But statistics represent what the player achieved in a time, in a certain place, in certain conditions, under a certain manager and tactical setup against a particular opposition on the day, in concurrent days over the course of a season, without telling you the full story. Like whether their direct opposition had explosive diarrhea the day before, or whether on the day they had 99 problems and vision was one. Sunshine and all that. So to give you a real world example why I think statistics are overrated, and understanding what players like Hugo Ekitike, Hugo Boss and Alexander Isak can do in a Liverpool shirt, here are my statistics playing for my hometown club, Cambridge South, with field hockey. As you can see below, when I was the main man, kind of like when Fernando Torres was in front of Steven Gerrard, Gerrard had the option of Alba Riera on the left, Dirk Kuyt on the right, I love those boys, but you know what I mean, Mascherano and Lucas in behind. He's like, I'm getting the ball to Torres. Torres back against the defender. Doesn't matter. I'm getting it to Torres. Torres in behind, getting it to Torres. Torres going out wide, I'm getting it to Torres. Because you're the main man, the whole plan goes through you. And as you can see, I'm over a goal a game. 21 goals in 17 appearances, 10 goals in 6 friendly appearances, 4 man of the match awards, 10 lemon of the match awards. That's the next column, by the way. It might be to do with that mullet. I had the super noodles on the back. And life was good. And it also doesn't tell you, despite my numerous hockey skills, I was not the most clinical shooter, but I always got the goal scoring chances, goal scoring opportunities, because I made them for myself. The teammates didn't supply me like I supplied he who should not be said up there. And it doesn't matter if you're Michael Laudrup, if you're Kaká, if you're Bernd Schuster, if you're Romanian Hagi, if you're Michel Platini, if you're Tos Tau, if you're Zico, if you're Zito. It doesn't matter if you're Gianni Rivera, if you're Paul Gascoigne, if you're Hide Kuti, if you're Juan Roman Riquelme. It doesn't matter if you're passing to this front line right here, then your statistics will say that you can't assist, mate. And that's kind of like Darwin Núñez could have became Liverpool's super noodle if he was the main man and we funneled everything through him as well, because he's a volume shooter who gets in the shooting opportunities and he needs more than 1 in 5 to score the goals. But if we created more than 1 in 5 because of the system, he would have got the goals to win the games, but unfortunately not. He had to get the 1 or 2 clinical shots in front of goals, 1v1s, sure he missed, but Núñez was a victim of the system and time that he was in, which is why he could not thrive. But Isak is expected to take up that mantle and is probably more self-sufficient in creating the goal-scoring opportunities himself. But then I got partnered with record goal scorer up there, Rob Barton, 502 appearances, 444 goals, and I had to play second fiddle. This guy is ancient, slower than a donkey's ass going backwards in Great Yarmouth Pleasure Beach. And those donkeys don't know how to back that ass up. And then I had to be the legs. What this statistic doesn't show you is my 200 or so assists to that guy, but still a respectable 128 goals and 169 appearances. But the point I'm trying to emphasize is that was a certain time and a place with a certain system, and your stats reflect what you're supposed to do. But just before we move on from field hockey, I found this relic from the past, from the Amsterdam tour. Suspicious. Now I know why Liverpool have gone Dutch. So let's bring up good old SofaScore. Hugo Ekitike, Alexander Isak, Premier League, Bundesliga 24-25. Average SofaScore rating 7.29, 7.27. We got them both. Yay. Minutes per game, 81-78. Total minutes played, 2769, 2578. 34 matches played, 33 matches played. Look at the heat maps, right? Obviously starting center circle as well. Alexander Isak has a slight more bias to the right-hand side. Wouldn't you know? Alexander Isak can play across the whole front line, staying high up on the pitch. Ekitike actually drifts into the right midfield slot to connect the play, but he's more central. He's a central poacher. So for everyone who says that Alexander Isak should be on top and Hugo Ekitike should play off the left, this begs to differ, because Hugo Ekitike starts higher up and then drops into that zone there to connect the play and connect the dots. Now, if you want Alexander Isak to score majority of the goals, then if you start Alexander Isak high up, which way is he going to go? He's going to go backwards away from the goal and out wide away from the goal. Food for thought. If Hugo Ekitike drops back into the false 9 position and Alexander Isak comes in off the left or off the right, he's going forward, looking at goal, exploiting the spaces, and a turn of pace, darting into the area where the defender has to be half body, half step to catch up, but not going to catch him anyway, because Isak, like Diogo Jota, God bless our eternal 20, has the silkworm dribble and makes the shot. So wouldn't it make more sense that Hugo Ekitike is up front, according to his heat map, and dropping back into position, and Alexander Isak coming in from the flank, whether it's the left or the right? Similarly, everyone says Cody Gakpo's place is in trouble because of the fact that he's not the most technically proficient. He isn't as fluid as a Wirtz or an Ekitike, who linked up very, very well. But once again, this only gives you a representation of what the players can do given their situation in Newcastle, where Alexander Isak had to provide the movement of the front line and go into all of the wide spaces as well, as he needed to help the build-up as well, because Guimaraes, Tonali, Joelinton, as quality as they are, aren't as creative or technically proficient on the offensive transition as Alexander Isak, which is why you have to do that. Whereas you'd expect Alexander Isak to probably be more point of the attack in either inside forward positions. The Hugo Ekitike, obviously all action all over the place as well. But it's very interesting that Hugo Ekitike has actually played in a 2. It's not 4-3-3 like Alexander Isak. Hugo Ekitike has played with Omar Mamouche, and Omar Mamouche is struggling to form a relationship with Haaland because Haaland is not a facilitator. Omar Mamouche is having to facilitate Erling Haaland, whereas in the setup at Frankfurt, Hugo Ekitike facilitated Omar Mamouche. Now, when you look at FOTMob, this is Alexander Isak. 90% chance creation, great. He's an asset when you're trying to build up the play, when you've got the ball. Touches, decent-ish. Shot attempts, gets a lot of shots off, as I mentioned before, similar to me, similar to Darwin Núñez. He can create his own opportunities to make the shots. Goals, high percentage of goals. In fact, he has done better than his expected goal rate. There you go, XG, right? Defensive contributions are almost nil because Newcastle didn't rely on him to press on the front. They conserved his energy to make sure he's effective in the right moments, kind of like what we do with Mohamed Salah. He doesn't win many aerial duels because we don't bump it up to him, we don't loft it up to him to contest. They try to build through him to allow him to make those goal opportunities. Now, this is very, very interesting. The defensive contributions is so low because I believe it's better than this, which is why I don't completely rely on statistics. But if you look at Hugo Ekitike this season, 61% defensive contributions, right? He scores goals, he has a lot of shot attempts, he wins a lot of aerial duels as well. His touches are slightly less because he's been crowded up because he plays point man for Liverpool. Now, chance created is actually 84%, whereas Alexander Isak is a higher chance creation player because they play in different ways. When you need a false 9, right? When you need someone on the transition, when you're transitioning, Ekitike is probably the man to lead that because he can battle, he can duel, he can win the ball, and off you go. You set, off you go. When you are dominating possession and dominating the field of play, you probably want Alexander Isak because you don't need to contest or have so much defensive contributions. You've got the ball, and therefore, when you funnel the ball through him, you are likely to break the opposition's play by having Isak on. Does that mean they can't play together? Of course they can play together, and Arne Slot will have to think of a system to get them to play together. But for now, the stats in terms of this graph here indicates that you play Isak in a match that you're dominating because he will open up the opposition in their block and help you score the goals. Whereas when you need to contest, when you need to duel, you have Hugo Ekitike to drop back into the 10, false 9 kind of role and help that congested area, battle, duel, and help in the transition as well. By now, you know that this channel is a channel of substance in abundance.
The cream of the crop!
Cream of the crop. So if you like Arne Slot, make sure you smash a like, subscribe if you haven't already. A very tasty high percentage of you who are subscribed to watch my channels week in, week out, but a lot of you are not yet subscribed. Smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below, are you enjoying this video? Do you like peak, Sai, or good, right? Guns blazing. Let's go. into what Isak and Ekitike need to thrive and how Liverpool can utilize them. As I said, we're going to cut no corners here and we're going to go full out in the tactical setup and transition as well. So if Isak is up here, and that is the title of the video, Alexander Isak, right? We know that he scores a majority of his shots in around that box. How do we know? Look at this image right here. So Mo Salah is a useful asset on the right hand side if he can get into the half space transitional zone here, because Isak likes to shoot in and around this area. Now who in this team is best placed to put Alexander Isak into the shooting position here? One option is Mo Salah's trusty left foot, right? It's not going to go around the outside here. It's going to go in between the centre back and the fullback when they split, when they're transitioning over. If you have runners here for a split moment, Mo Salah's ball can find Isak in the channel, opening the body to shoot with a powerful shot across goal, right? But that is Mo Salah playing at the best in front of a tight six, and it's a difficult option here. Sure, Mo Salah is a clinical, wide playmaking genius off the wing, but actually what you expect, as I say time and time again, is the biggest threat this position is only created when you have an overload on the other position, okay? So let's put, for example, Hugo Ekitike, Hugo Boss as that position. Florian Wirtz over here, interchangeable, both can play both sides. You might start Ekitike on the left, I actually prefer him here in the 10 role, as I mentioned. Now what happens is, if Ekitike goes out wide and drags the defenders out wide, if we build up the transition, it goes into here, it goes into here, it goes into here, it goes into here, okay? Well, as soon as it goes into here, Kerkez could overlap, but in this case, Ekitike is making a run. Isak splits here, Salah is still holding the whip here. The biggest threat is Ekitike going out wide. As I mentioned, the strikers split. Now what happens is Isak probably has half a yard to burst in here. As the play works out, when you rotate, when Ekitike comes here and Wirtz tries the overlap and the ball goes into Ekitike here, right? The few threats you have is a dummy runner going into that line for the blind ball here. You have Wirtz going around the outside or Ekitike, interchangeable, both very comfortable. Everyone has to shift because of the fact that you've got a dummy runner, you've got the overload, you've got the left back option as well. Everyone's pushed up, you've got the rotational option to go in and around. But the slide rule ball, and this is how so many teams sucker punch Liverpool. They sucker punch Liverpool because of the ball sliding across here. Now that you slide the ball across here, you've got so much of an overload at the back post, which is a viable option. When you shoot across goal, everyone is bursting their gut to get into the box there. Salah can make the direct run in and around the back, or he can just stay wide as an option, right? As soon as a player, the fullback, tracks Salah and goes there, Isak has a darting run or the ability to cut inside or the ability to shift alongside the defender. And as you know, Isak can make his own goal scoring chances or smash it in high at the front post as well. When you transition with an overload on the left, the rotations of the left, and you move the ball quickly to the right, Isak has the techers, the footwork, the touch, the propensity to get into that box and shoot from that position. So that is how you can get Isak to shoot into that position. What else can we do to facilitate Alexander Isak? Now, another reason to play Isak in and behind Ekitike, right? As I mentioned, Ekitike drops into the 9, into the midfield position to harass and hassle the opposition. What this allows is Isak's ability to ghost in to the back post and see the play, especially if you're building from the right hand side. Now, we've mentioned the scenarios where we build on left hand side, Wirtz and Ekitike, silky footballing talent, right? But years gone by, we build down the right hand side, and especially with Frimpong in here, we may look to do that again. Now what happens here, Isak floats in this position, Ekitike goes in the same line, the line of 10, where we sit in front of the centre backs, and in between 6 positions, they've got to make a decision who is marking Ekitike, who is marking Isak. At the same time, we've got Cody Gakpo here for the height, aerial dominance, and the penalty box poaching techers. On occasion, we pressed with a 4-2-4 press in last season. Szoboszlai and Gravenberch have the legs and the lankiness, like Bulbasaur or Vine Whip, to snap, tackle, crack, and pop. Cocoa Pops. No, it's not Cocoa Pops. It's Rice Krispies, right? Something like that. I don't know. Kellogg's. Anyway, digressing just a bit. So what happens in this instance? When Ekitike goes into the 10 position, Gakpo keeps the width, Kerkez drops into the line of 6 here. Gravenberch has the free run here, which means Ekitike has a bias towards the left. We know that Salah can drift into half space here, but on occasion as well, Salah might stay on the outside. You go from out to in, you just don't start in this position because you'll be marked and picked up straight away. But you can go into this position, and let's say, for example, Frimpong starts on the right wing back position. What that allows you to do, right, if the ball gets shunted into space, we've got a line breaking ball into Salah here. He drags the opposition from out to in to follow him as well, which gives Frimpong the space in that side there. If everyone does overload, if Ekitike does decide to pull the defenders and everyone gets dragged back, we build up off the left. Isak goes into that position, you recycle again. Either case, you recycle. We're looking for that opening on a right-hand position, right, which we didn't have in previous seasons because Trent stayed way too far back in this position and this position here. And Conor Bradley, for whatever reason, Arne Slot likes him underlapping into this kind of inside forward position as well. He does get into the box, bless him. Then Frimpong is a big threat out here. Now, what you get with Isak in the 10 and Ekitike dropping to connect the play is when the ball does come out here, Frimpong not only can whip the ball in, he's got an option here, by the way, inside forward position if he wants to play, make, give and go as well. Ekitike can attack the front post because Ekitike is not the best header of the ball, especially when dueling to head the ball. He'll just bop it over or weak with no power, straight the keeper. But Isak is dominant in the air, and when you can see the opposition, the ball, the build-up of the play, Isak at the back post is a very viable option because if Frimpong doesn't have the right passing lane available, then Frimpong's whipped or lofted ball to the back post for Isak to head down to Ekitike or head down to Cody Gakpo. Now, Cody Gakpo can smell danger. He's a penalty box poacher, and he can smash the Gakpo, right? Or you can header to header in, or you can header to header in, which brings Ekitike's heading weakness out of the game, eliminates it because you're heading it across where it's about reaction time, just getting good contact with the ball, bopping either way to knock down into the goal in any position, or to Gakpo, who can take a shot, or down to Ekitike, who can take a shot as well. Isak's propensity to attack the back post and dominate the back post is excellent, but you can do the other way around because Gakpo is very, very tall as well. Although I think Isak is better in the air, Gakpo down to Isak is a winning combination because Isak in this position is going to score the goal. He's just going to hammer it into the side of the net. Or in a penalty box position, those lanky legs with a wide arc of control will keep it in. It could be Isak, it could be Ekitike. Isak's probably more historically better as a finisher as well. And you've got the recyclability of a Szoboszlai who can release a cracking long shot. You've got so much overloads in terms of heading to score, control in the box, ability to bring it laterally. Isak can make the dummy run to the post if Gakpo needs to run laterally as well. You've got the option to pop it down into a Gakpo Thunder Hammer, or to a Szoboszlai Thunder Kunting it into the net as well, or Ekitike poaching in around the area with the long limbs to prod it home as well. And all else fails, your recyclability is Gravenberch, Salah, could be McAllister as well, Van Dijk, Konate holding the line. It's just so overwhelmingly oppressive and disgusting for the opposition to stop a back post loft, to stop a front post Ekitike running across, using the pace on the board to head it across with the long shoot capability of Isak, Gakpo and Szoboszlai. And basically the team is just set up offensively to absolutely destroy. Now that's Isak at the back post, Isak in that goal scoring position. Isak's long shooting is a strength. Let me bring that chart back up. Long shots, strength. Finishing, strength. Dribbling is a strength. So in and around this area as well, you'd expect Isak to be able to get the shots underway. Now you saw a bias towards the right hand side because he's just had to be all action all over the place. But when you're overloading on the left hand side, it doesn't matter whether Gakpo does the round outside and Isak's on the back post here because he can do that. Gakpo's lofted to Isak is another game winning condition on the other side. Look at all the shooters waiting to line up for the shot. It's all gravy, baby, and Gravenberch scored from this position against Newcastle. Fancy that. So really, we are set up on both sides now to dink to Isak on the back post to find a man, and we've got so many players. Who are top caliber on a knockdown. Okay, we haven't played this style for a long time. Think Andy Carroll, think Peter Crouch, but Isak has that in his arsenal as well. And I'm not talking about the Arsenal because they're the luxury Stoke. I'm talking about weaponry, and Isak has a big firepower to score the goals as well. But as I mentioned, in and around outside the box, cutting inside, he has similar ability to Gakpo, not the long strides of a Gakpo who's more of a powerhouse, but the silkiness, the slipperiness to find his way to jink, to really dribble in and around and cause havoc. So if Gakpo's physicality of going here and dinking or cutting inside isn't doing it, Isak on the left can actually beat a man with techers, Neymar Jr. style. He really has those silky feet and techers to make, the enemy properly look a dunce, look a fool, to skill him up, which means Ekitike attacking the front post, Ekitike being a dummy runner for him to cut inside as well. Isak's goal scoring opportunities are so vast, and the plays we need to set him up in is to get him into the back post, to get him in any of the inside forward half positions here, to get him to build up the playmaking from the width itself. I don't think he should really get involved in and amongst the sixes, because not only is it congested and devastating, he operates in a wide space. You've seen him do them in, especially Real Madrid, on the wide flank as well from the left, but also the right itself. And when you need to add pace, if it's Conor Bradley or Joe Gomez on the right back position, Isak drifting to the right makes sense. But when Frimpong's there, you probably isolate and give Frimpong that channel, and you probably overload on the left hand side as well, because Gravenberch, you give Gravenberch that channel to operate there. You have Gravenberch's gone. You give Salah the opportunity to float between the lines and connect the play, and as a late runner into the box. I think that's going to be Salah's role as he evolves in this team, and as he ages gracefully as well. The Egyptian king, playmaking from the wing, coming inside, using his game intelligence and his off the ball running. He can be the late runner and getting many goals, Lampard style, drifting in late. But give Frimpong the freedom of the width, give Gravenberch the freedom of the turn and driving past the press in that position there. And you expect Gakpo, Isak, Wirtz and Ekitike to dominate the left-hand side, with Szoboszlai and Kerkez and Gravenberch holding positional play, with Konate and Van Dijk in the lines behind them, covering for the whips again. Thank you everyone for watching this video. Hopefully that gives you better insight into what Liverpool are trying to do with Alexander Isak, the positions we're trying to get him into, and how he can play with Ekitike, how he can play without Ekitike. These examples have been with Ekitike, but you can easily substitute him for Florian Wirtz or McAllister as well. And what you have in this situation here is that Wirtz in world football alongside Salah have the option to slip Isak in on the diagonal, slipping Isak in and shooting across, slipping Isak in, cutting across, shooting across, cutting inside, slipping to Gakpo on a dummy run, out wide Isak again, rotational play going around the outside, so Isak can go in the penalty box to attack it, front post as well, that's a devastating one, contesting in the middle for a header, because this is something he can do that I don't think Ekitike will score enough of, contesting a contested header in the middle as well, with intelligent movement and sharpness and aerial ability, or bopping down from the back post as well. Isak is clearly here to dominate and win many trophies, and with Isak in the team, a double at least is on, you would think, this season. Hope he gets match fitness. Miyazaki man Ichiban, it means the best. The Liverpool fan in Japan community is the best. Join the Discord. We chat, banter, memes, formations, goals, expectations, 24/7. Love to talk to you guys. Join the Liverpool fan in Japan membership, a cheeky £2 a month. Supports the channel a long way. Hopefully the views drive up with this new banterific approach as well. Let me know if you like it in the comments below. Until next time, Jane means ciao.